Hello boys and girls, and welcome to another Creator Series video. I know I'm slightly behind schedule on these. I currently have a lot on my plate in my own personal life, which is why I'm taking some time off to sort things out. And I'm working on that, and I appreciate all of you being here every step of the way. Today, we will be racing at Baku. This track is 51 laps of emotional torture disguised as a street track. Every corner is a potential DNF if you're not careful. Plus, going into this race, I decided to make some last minute and very drastic setup changes because I had a theory that I wanted to test out. And today's video is going to be a tale of highs and lows around the streets of Azerbaijan. Enjoy.
Into the race, I opted to start on the softs on the opening stint. I knew I would need the extra grip and traction on the opening lap.
Oh, that's great.
Because I'm gonna have to do a lot of incident avoidance. And quality didn't go as well as I had hoped. Usually I'm in the top 5 pretty easily, but today I just couldn't really find any pace around Baku. And historically, Baku has always been one of my weakest tracks. But it doesn't matter, because off we go. On the opening lap, we get a very good launch, almost thinking about sticking down the inside of Nogueira. That came out a little wrong. Anyways, into turn 2 now. Thinking about a little send down the inside, maybe a little fake, but on the exit, the traction on these softs are just absolutely mental. And rising ahead up the road, he's already starting to put in good work, pulling an almost a second gap to P2 and P3. Gillen is currently on the hards, and his tires are going to take a few laps to fire up, so we have to take advantage of our softs right now. I get a really good exit here, but I try to stick it down the inside. He goes very, very defensive, very late lunge, almost losing the rear, and I get kind of pushed onto the outside curve here, and there's just not as much grip, so we're gonna have to concede for now. All the while, P1 and P2 are running away on their softs. It's not looking good, and there are not that many overtaking opportunities into the second and third sector. We had to wait to the main straight until we could make a real move here, and even then, it was not possible. Looking back now, it was clear that I had way too much wings compared to the rest of the field. I feel like all race, I was just struggling with the battery, and I'm starting to think more and more that low wings are probably the way to go on most tracks in F125. And right away we could get to pushing, and it doesn't take long for Ben to get past Gillen as well. But we are on a ticking time bomb here. These softs are not going to last long. I expect that soon enough the hards will become faster compared to our softs, and it will only be a matter of time. And I'm quite struggling here. We don't have as much top speed as everybody else, and even in the middle sector, we're not really closing the gap to GB, and just a lap later, we lost over 2 seconds to GB in the Aston, and still my battery is it's close to being empty this entire time. I haven't really been able to make any progress on that front in terms of battery saving, and on the very next lap, Benjamin Daly overtakes me into turn 1 without DRS.
You gotta work together with Ben here.
There's nothing we can really do. At this point, it's damage limitation. We can still hold on to these positions, but I have to say, word of advice, kids, do not change your setup less than an hour before the race. I had a little theory that I wanted to try, but
really fast.
It doesn't look like it's gonna work out. And so far, the balance of the car has just been all over the place. To recap, we have no top speed, we have no rotation, the car gets unsettled very, very easily going over curbs, and battery management is a nightmare with this setup. And at this point I'm thinking, as long as I'm 1 and 2 in this little train of ours, we should be fine. But on the very next lap, Gillen's hards have finally come alive, and our softs are all but done. And we just get double overtaken here, and there's nothing I can do to defend. But this is when the safety car comes out.
Oh my god, that was the unluckiest safety car ever. The end
Such
here.
as racing. The only thing we can do is dive into the pits and put on a fresh set of hards and hope for the best. We can only get our head
Ben's
down
car
and
disappeared
keep
for a second
pushing,
there. That was
because
weird.
that's what we do. We're sitting in P5 right now. I'm not sure P1 and P2. I think they're on the mediums as well. So they will have to make another stop unless they manage their tires really, really well. Historically, Baku has had pretty low tire wear, but even with low tire wear, the feeling just gets really, really bad as the race goes on. So even though you might not be close to puncture, the pace drop-off is significant. And on lap 12, we go racing once again, and I'm trying to weave and trying to get as much temperature into these hards as possible because they are ice cold right now. And the restart comes very, very late into turn 1. We're gonna have to defend a little bit from Karim. He gets a really good restart. I always get caught napping on safety car restarts and almost taking out Karim because I lock my rears. But fortunately, no damage. And I'll let Karim go here because clearly he has more pace than me and I don't want to fight. Not yet anyways. And this is where, ladies and gentlemen, the kerfuffle starts. Because it's about to get rowdy up ahead very, very quickly. 4 cars within 2/10 of each other. This is not going to end well. And myself and Tom97, we're both just going to sit here for a while because there's no point in going for crazy sends. Not this early into the second stint. We're going to wait for the race to unfold a little bit. And since they're going to be fighting really, really hard up ahead, we can wait for a mistake and capitalize on it. And right there, GB gets pushed into the wall by Tiamat.
Did Alex get damaged or what?
Things are starting to look really, really dicey here. Karim also wants a piece of that, and he's going to try his luck. Not just yet, but GB and Gillen are now going side by side, and 4 cars within 1/10 of each other. Karim gets a beautiful line around the outside, but here they go 3 wide into the castle section, and Karim gets the short end of the stick here, almost putting an end to his race. That could have ended very, very badly. And I'm just sitting here laughing to myself. I have the front row seat to some great battles. And again, Benjamin Daly goes for a huge lunge, almost pushing Gillen into the wall. And I don't need to wait for an invitation. Going down the inside, and I leave some room on the outside. Might have steered a little bit into him on the exit, but being on the mediums gives Alex so much extra traction out of that corner. And me being on slightly higher wings means I'm still at a big disadvantage here, but they have been battling so hard for the past few laps. And I'm going to use all of my battery here. Ben is also out of ERS, and I'm going to move at the very last second, trying to leave some room on the inside as well because I know there's 2 cars on either side of me. I'll break everybody. And that is a textbook overtake into turn 1. 3 positions gained. Beautiful. Or was it 2? Anyways, now it's about keeping with Karim and GB, but again, in the middle sector, even though we have higher wings, it just doesn't feel like it. The car just... It's the balance is just all over the place, and I'm not liking my life right now. And I'm running on fumes on the straights. I don't have top speed, and I can regenerate any ERS. Karim is glued to the back of GB, but I'm nowhere to be found. But at this point, I'm thinking to myself, hey, P4 is still very good. The championship leader is far behind, and he's gonna be scoring less points than we will today. And Karim makes his move on GB right now, and Infratic goes for the overtake on the main straight. And there's just nothing I can do. He's got so much more ERS than I do. Fortunately, he doesn't go for the move this lap. I go slightly defensive, but how long can we hold on still? The answer is not long, because on the very next lap, he overtakes us, probably dumping his whole battery to do it. And now it's up to him. Oh, excuse me. We're going to be briefly interrupted because Benjamin Daly just sent it down the inside at the last possible second and took himself out. Fortunately, we didn't get collected or get any damage. Phew. But let's take a look from his POV, shall we?
What kind of emphatic?
Oh my, okay.
Brother pulled the Lando Norris.
It doesn't matter because we have our own race to do. But now I'm really hoping that Fabio's tires don't die off and we lose the DRS to GB before I can make my own move. Unfortunately, he did. Basically, Fabio dumped his entire battery to overtake me, and now we are both left for dead. And again, even with DRS open, it just feels like I'm not gaining that much on the straights. And I didn't even use that much battery there on the main straight. I'm still down to 30%.
So good, GB.
After just a single straight. And soon enough, Fabio's tires have all but died. Now Tom 97 is right on our gearbox. And I'm thinking, okay, perfect. We will use Tom as a way to limit damage. As long as I can keep up and stay in his DRS, we should be alright. If only it were this easy. Because coming up towards turn 3, you'll see in a bit, having no racing line around Baku is probably one of the hardest things to do. Because if you miss your braking point, then this happens. I don't know if it's a loss of focus or the nameplate being in the way of the braking boards, but I have just completely ruined my own race. And this has made the race 100 times more complicated. Because on the restart, we're gonna stick very close to Gillen here, but I think Thom is on very old mediums. He didn't box under the safety car, I think. And that's gonna allow us to move quite easily past him. And I'm gonna leave some room on the outside into turn 2. Very difficult to do into that tight corner. And somehow we make it unscathed.
Late defense
but with everybody now together in a train, it's gonna make overtaking even harder now. It's not too bad when you're the second car in the train, you can use DRS to overtake, but when all 3 cars in front of you have DRS, it's pretty painful. And our lack of top speed from the setup is going to be even more painful in a DRS train situation. And there were moments where I came really close to overtaking, but I don't want to go for push to passes. If I want to win, I want to win it cleanly. And that's why I always try to give room on the outside whenever we battle. Of course, I misjudge sometimes, but we're all human at the end of the day. And we can only hope to do better, a little bit better, every single time. On the final straight now, you can see the leaders have pulled off into the distance by a very big margin. But the Ferrari boys, having worked together for the entirety of the last stint, means we just didn't really have a chance. So unfortunately, it is going to be P8 for today's race. And I believe that knocks us down to P5. Pretty painful, if you ask me.
What a disappointing end to the race that was. To an otherwise great race. But the pace overall was just not there today. And there's going to be some work that needs to be done around the streets of Baku. As always, you can catch me live for these races on either YouTube or Twitch. And also keep in mind that PSGL is starting this week. Subscribe so you don't miss out on any of that. But this is Formula Kai signing off, and I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.